Talk with the Cowboy.
Welcome and thanks for riding with the Cowboy. Well, bad news from San Francisco. We were defeated 35-7 in a beatdown like we hadn't had all year. It was a terrible game, as we all seen, with overthrows by Brady. Been able to score a point. 49ers scored on us early. 28-0 at halftime. No pass rush whatsoever. Secondary getting burnt like toast. It was a terrible situation. It was a terrible game. 35-7, 28-0 at halftime. You can paint in the lines. Team was disoriented. Coaching was terrible. Offensive coordinator, y'all, everybody saw it. It was that bad. It was a terrible game. A couple overthrow passes by Brady, one to Mike Evans, one to Julio Jones. Scotty Miller had to stop in a full-fledged run down the sidelines to come back on a ball that he didn't get anyhow. He could have had 3 touchdowns there, could have had, should have had, would have had, but it didn't happen. It looked out of sync. The offensive line is not trusted by Tom Brady. He hasn't trusted the offensive line all year, and you can see it in his play. Let that ball go. Mike Evans hasn't caught a touchdown since game 4, and we're going into game number 14 this week. So that gives you an idea where we are offensively. There's a will to win. There's players that are playing, but they're not up to par. They're not up to snuff to get the job done. Carl Nassif is playing a real good backup role with Shaq Barrett out. Did a real good job on pass rush this week. Really attempted to have a pass rush. And, of course, Joe Tryon-Shrinka was beat. Just beat like a rug on a line. All night long. No pass rush whatsoever. The third string Purdy comes in and burns Tampa like 10-minute toast. Okay, 35-7 and a beat down for all to see. When anybody had any doubt that this is a good team, and we love them, they're not a good team. Anybody have any doubt that they have a direction? The only direction they have is being inconsistent. If anybody believes this team is ready to make a playoff run today, no. Though they could back into the playoffs by winning their division, which they probably will. And they've got the Cincinnati Bengals coming with Joe Burrow to Raymond James Stadium Sunday. That's a red-hot Cincinnati Bengals that won and beat the Kansas City Chiefs 2 weeks ago, 27-24. Better than the 49ers that beat us 35-7. But I think the Bucs might could put up a fight, make it competitive. Even making it competitive would be nice. To see an offense that can actually score points, a defense that can actually produce pressure to the quarterback of the other team, not to step back and eat lunch and throw a ball 40 yards and hit somebody running down the sidelines. Okay, any of that would be good. So we won't beat 48-0, or they put a 50 booger on us at 50-0. It could happen. Okay, it could happen with the fast-paced Cincinnati Bengal offense. Okay, nobody's going to feel sorry for them. They did what they did. They didn't go out and get any offensive linemen at the first of the year like we here on Sports Talk. The Cowboy told them that they should have. And that whole offensive line has been their issue right there because Brady cannot trust it. He's not going to take a hit. He's going to throw the ball away. He's going to throw it over. He's going to speed up and throw it. And he has done it. Okay, the timing is off. We can all see it. We've seen it. This team is 6-7. The team that the Las Vegas Westgate odds makers had in the Super Bowl 13-4. That's the odds makers in Vegas. They're taking a bath on the Bucs. They're 6-7. And they'll be 6-8 probably on Sunday, though. We're going to pray that they exactly do as we said, maybe win the game. Maybe Brady can come out and win the game, but we've seen the team. We don't know what team it'll be. Will it be the Seahawks team that went to Munich and beat the Seahawks? Or will it be the team that got beat 35-7 last week? It's a little bit of both, I think. They attempt to get the ball downfield. Their whole offensive identity is being consistent. The only thing that they've managed to get right in this season is the consistency of their offense. And this is it. Inconsistency. That's the only thing they're good at. Okay? And you don't know what you're playing. But the passing game is absolutely horrid. The running game is horrid. The offensive line play is horrid. And the quarterback play by Tom Brady is subpar. The offensive play calling, Byron Leftwich is the worst offensive coach I think the Bucs might have had in their whole history. He's certainly not going to get a job after this year. If he does, mark that team down, okay? They're braver than I'd ever be. And so anyhow, big game this week with Cincinnati. I don't think there's any injuries. Sean Murphy-Bunting's supposed to be back. Jabel Dean had went down with a turf toe last week in the 49er game, our number one cornerback. And right now with the turf toe, he's probably out for Sunday's game. As far as the Bengals team's concerned, no injuries. T. Martin was out the last game. He's still out. Joe Mixon, the running back for the Bengals, will be there and will be playing. Joe Burrow, there. And Jamal Chase, the greatest receiver in all of football, will be there too. And he's healthy. So this is what we're facing Sunday in the Raymond James Stadium. Get out there, and when the play calling's bad, if you love the Bucs like I do, and Sports Talk of the KowBoy does, when you're in that stand and you see Byron Leftwich on 4th and 2 or 3rd and 7 try a stupid play, or you see that coaching staff standing there trying to kick a field goal that they can't make, boo them. Boo them for the good of the team. We know who they are, and they should know we know, because we do know. It's a terrible situation, but let's pray for a victory this Sunday, and we're still in the playoff hunt. We still got 2 games on New Orleans and 1 game on Atlanta and Carolina, which we're going to get a shot in 2 weeks to play those teams. So after that, we're going to move on to the rest of the football news. There was a lot of news this week. There was some good games that were played. Baker Mayfield come back and beat the Raiders, which was a big, big game. The Lions beat the Vikings. The Detroit football Lions are 6-7. That's 6-7, the same record as the Bucs. Beat the leading Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. And the Detroit Lions have won 5 out of the last 6 games, so they're on a roll. They're getting hot. If you're playing craps, the dice are hot with the Lions, okay? The Bucs, not so much. Drop them in this water and you'll get it cold, okay? So that's just some of the games that have been played. Some good teams have been winning, and some teams like the Washington Commanders have been winning. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Houston Texans in a real close game. The New York Giants play the Washington Commanders this week. Big pivotal game in the NFC East, with both teams trying to vie for one of those 12 spots in the tournament. 20 will go home when the playoffs start. 12 will stay. You want to be punching your 12 ticket, because then the standings matter not. You're 0-0. You win, you go on. You lose, you go home. But you got to be in that 12, or you're not going to be there. So we're starting to form that up. These games are important. This week there's a Saturday game. There's 3 games Saturday, 1 at 1, 1 at 4, and 1 at 8. With college football not being around until the playoffs at January. So there's NFL football Saturday and Sunday. Pivotal games, because there's no games that aren't pivotal right now. If a team that's out of the playoff hunt beats a team that's in, that's pivotal. This is a real pivotal time. So tune into that and watch that NFL action this week. On the college front, we have sad news about Mississippi State Bulldog coach Mike Leach having a heart attack and dying. He was going to represent Mississippi State at the Reliant Bowl in Tampa, which is being renamed the Reliant Bowl. It used to be the Outback Bowl in Tampa. And he was a great college football coach. He was well loved by everyone. I never met the man, but I heard him on the radio in the Tampa market. Loved the Tampa market, loved the Tampa area. It's a sad, sad day for college football to lose such a man, and a sad day because that bowl game will be played, and I'm sure it will be played in his memory by the Mississippi State fans, the alumni, and all the bands will be there for that game, and it's going to be nationally televised even more, because I'm sure Mike Leach will be on the hearts of all football players. And I hope the NCAA has some of these teams put the Mike Leach insignia on their jerseys through these 40 games, because he gave over 30 years to the game. So we're going to move on now to the questions of the week. And the first one's from Alice. And Alice is in Tampa. And she wanted to know, again, when Ryan Jensen would come back as a center. Alice, I think Ryan Jensen can be back by the first part of January. Whether the Bucs will be playing or not, God, I don't think so. I hope they are. I pray they are every day, Alice. But Jensen, we don't really know. It has not changed anything 3 weeks ago or a month ago on Ryan Jensen coming in. He's been on the sidelines. He was on the sidelines in San Francisco. He's traveling with the team. First part of January, Alice. God bless you, and thank you for that question. We'll keep you updated if he does go in. He certainly would be well liked to be seen going in. Thank you, Alice. And this question is from Tom. And Tom wanted to know about the Miami Dolphins and their defeat by the Chargers the other night and how that'll affect them in the playoffs. And Tom, I think it will affect them. They're not going to win the division. They get to play the Buffalo Bills Saturday night. One of those games I talked about, very pivotal because it's the Bills and the Dolphins. Okay? And one's going to knock the other one out of winning the division, not the playoffs. So it's going to be 7 inches of snow in Buffalo. It was over 100 degrees in September when Miami beat them. They were all dehydrated, getting IVs. They're going to the 7 inches of snow in Buffalo. Kind of a payback. But listen, Miami's still a strong team. They got a little streaky. They had an off night the other night against the Chargers, and that Chargers is a high-paced team. Not making no excuses for your Dolphins, Tom. But I'm going to tell you this. They got a playoff caliber coach, and they got a playoff caliber team, and I believe they'll make the playoffs, and I'm praying that they have a good game this Saturday night. Thank you for your question, Tom. And the next question is from Dave, and Dave wanted to know about St. Petersburg getting the nod on an 86-acre sports stadium complex out at Tropicana Field, trying to keep the Tampa Bay Ray baseball team in Tampa. And Dave, Tampa, as you know, and St. Pete have been arguing on who's going to build this stadium and where it's going to be. Here's what I can tell you. 86 acres in the Tropicana Field, where the present Tropicana Field is now, the Heinz Corporation that makes your ketchup is backing an 86-acre development down there in St. Petersburg, Florida. They're willing to pump $1.5 billion to do it. Tampa's saying, well, I got 20 acres down here on Channel Side by the hockey arena, right on the water. We're willing to do it. How much money are you going to build that with that land you've given me, Tampa? We don't have any money in place. Well, Dave, the 86 acres is looking pretty good with $1.5 billion we're going to give you to do it. Okay, now you're the owner. You got to make the pick. Okay, this 86 acres residential, like we talked about on this show before. A couple questions about merchants, blocks and blocks from around the stadium. A regular inner city, urban area, parks, even parks. Okay, yes, parks. This is how big this thing is going to be. 86 acres, and they're willing to fund it. So I got St. Petersburg if I'm betting right now because the money's laying on the table. And if you were the owner of the Rays, what you going to do? So anyhow, Dave, that's where we are right now. Nobody's made no decision. But they got to have one by 2027. It takes 3 years to build a stadium, and it's 2023 in January. Somebody's going to have to pull the trigger. They've been waiting 15 years talking trash. And like we all know, that's $1.5 billion. And we got 86 acres. Tampa's got a bigger town, but they got 25 acres down in Ybor City. Looks real good to us, but they ain't got no money. So that's all I can tell you on that one, Dave. We'll keep you posted as much as we know. There's a long way to go, but I think by February, March, we'll have a lot better idea. Thank you, Dave, for that question. Good question. DJX, what do you got for me tonight?
Well, Cowboy, you know what it is. Let's get right into it, buddy. Debo to return in regular season. What you think about that?
Debo be back. You know, he's out. He's got a surgical operation he had to take care of during this bowl season.
Yeah.
The Clemson Tigers are not going to the national championship games. They're not playing for the Super Bowl. So he said, okay, I'm going to the bowl game, but look, I get this surgery and I get back out in the spring and get back out with my team. I'm going to go ahead and let my assistant coaches take this.
Right.
I mean, I'll be there. I'll be at all the parties, but I'm just not going to go down on the field that day and stand.
Right. I can dig it. All right, now, who needs a clean start in Week 15?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team.
Bucs. That's right. The Bucs need a clean start.
They need one clean. Let them go out of there with a win against the Cincinnati Bengals to see if they can pick up a little momentum. Get the fans behind them. These fans have seen it. They know what this is. This stinking football here. And what gets me, and all y'all Buck fans that watch the show know, if you listen to the coaches and you listen how they address the media, it's just terrible. How they sound, how they project themselves, how they communicate to the media and to you, what's going on.
It ain't the same team.
What's wrong with your offense? They would say, we don't score as many points as the other team. I mean, in a smug way. Like, okay, well, we kind of figured that. You know. When you can see the 30-point scoring Tampa Bay offense scoring 14 to 15 points. When you're the worst running team in a 32 teams. The 32 in the NFL. Who is the worst running football team in that? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That wasn't the case last year, was it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They won 13 games last year. Absolutely not. They were
totally different team.
Totally different team. And I know people say, well, Cowboy, look, Ryan Jensen's not there. Hey, Adonica Sue's not there. Jason Pierre-Paul's not there. Ron Gronkowski's not there. Ali Marpet retired. Alex Kappa's up with the Cincinnati Bengals playing for a $40 million contract. How about all them players?
Right.
They say, well, look, we got players. Okay, we got Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Julio Jones. We got Levante David and Devin White.
Yeah.
We got Vita Vea. We got some talent on the Bucs team left of treasure talent. You know how many teams would love to have what we got left?
Right.
And Vegas knew what we had when we came in this year, and they said 13-4, and we're putting our money down. And they're taking a bath. Okay?
Right.
Turn the shower hose on. Because the Bucs ain't making 13 wins. We'll only win in 6 games, 13 through, because there ain't before left. We can do the math. Okay? This team ain't as good as they were last year. No way, shape, or form. And they weren't coordinated. They didn't have the coaching. Because the coaching of this team, you take on the characteristics of the coach. We got what we've got. And we've got the coach we got. Do I believe I got a better feeling Todd Bowles will be fired as soon as this team goes out of the playoffs than I do win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me, Cowboy, listen, the Glazers got that decision. I said, they got that decision, but don't think those fans don't see it. Don't think that the announcers up in the booth that criticize the coach in a kind of smug way, the people that watch football don't pick up on.
Exactly.
They know what time it is, okay? So they got him a check and say, this is how much we owe you on the rest of them years. Goodbye.
Gonna holler at you later. All right. So, what went wrong for the Bucs versus the 49ers?
A superior coach team, a superior team and talent, a formulated game plan to go get the ball and take it right down there and score with it, and exactly what they did. We got the ball, went 3 plays, punted the ball. Went 3 plays, punted the ball. When we punted it to them, they got the ball, they went back down there and scored. And when we punted it to them, they scored it again. They threw it, they ran it, they threw it, they ran it, they went all over us. Short, long, intermediate, drove the field 20, 30, 40, all the way to touchdown. And when they went in at halftime, they were ahead of us 28-0.
Wow.
When you get the beat down like that, you can know you got beat down.
Right. Beat down.
Beat down. 35-0 before we scored a garbage touchdown and made it 35-7. We had our chances. We had a few chances. It didn't work out. But what can you say? Getting beat's one thing. Getting beat that bad, when you're supposed to be getting your mojo like the Lions, 5 out of the last 6 getting hot, throwing those dice hot. You got the Bucs dice. Woo, you cold.
Right.
Okay.
What it says here, Brady's throw to Evans in the end zone falls incomplete.
Sure did. And one did get caught for a touchdown, 68-yard, and beautiful. Man, could have helped that team. Guess what? We were holding. So I guess they got to come back. So they scored one, didn't count. And then he dropped that one. And then Julio Jones got one missed on him. And Scotty Miller got one missed on him. We're naming names of the ones getting missed on.
Brady lofts off 20-yard pass to Evans over the middle.
Yeah. He went right over top of his head. And the guy was standing right back there waiting on the ball, hitting him right in the stomach. He could have had to throw it down to miss it. Went over his head. Because why? Because Tom Brady is scared of the line. He's a 45-year-old quarterback. He gets his ball snapped. These guys are coming to sack him. He knows the guy's blocking him. Ain't gonna block. These guys want a piece of my head. You know what I'm going to have to do when I have a throwing play? If I throw the ball away and they hit me, I get a 15-yard penalty. They might get thrown out of the game. If I have the ball in my hand, they can hit me. So when you run through all my blocking, I'm just going to throw it.
Get rid of it.
And that's why I stayed in football till I'm 45. And I'm doing the same thing now as I did for 22 years. When I didn't have an offensive line, I threw it.
Threw it away.
Damn right. And I mean
I'm
fast.
going to leave it off right here, and we're going to listen to the man himself say what he thinks went wrong. Here we go.
Everyone's got to play better, but, we're just not playing. We just have not played consistently well very often. We haven't played it for 4 quarters. Maybe we played it a little bit at times, not today at all. But some games we play well for 5 minutes and don't play well for 55 minutes. Some games we played pretty well for a half. We just have not played consistently well for a game.
Well, that's pretty much what the Cowboys just told you before you heard it from Tom Brady. So now Cowboys' account of what has been taking place has now been justified by the one and only Tom Brady in verbal terms. We just got finished telling you that it was inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
He said it in a nice, more monotone voice, with a lot more expensive shirt on, I'm sure. But listen, he said the same thing. Inconsistency.
Didn't look happy about it at all.
He certainly wasn't happy to have 80 of his family members, mom and dad, all of his sisters, all of his kinspeople, 80 of them. Only second time he's ever played in San Francisco in 22 years. Only second time. 80 of them in the stand.
Right.
Looked like a whole team around him for the game. You know, he must have said, look, I'm coming here with not as good a team as I would have 2 years ago or even last year, but look, I want to keep, have a good game. And he sure didn't have one.
Right. Well, that's what I got for you tonight, Cowboy. I'm going to leave it off right there.
Well, God bless you, DJX.
God bless you, too.
God bless each and every one of you. We love our Bucs. We want them to win. We're going to pray for them to win a Cincinnati game this week and hope they don't lose bad if they do. Until next time, God bless you, Cowboy out.